Hey guys, we are live. We got Stephanie Jeraldo joining us here today. She's kind of a pop indie artist with a little bit of country thrown in. Also, if you're going to be in the Biketoberfest festivities here in Daytona Beach, please make sure to check us out at the Rockin' Ranch. We're going to have a concert coming the 15th with Macy Mack. So let's get Stephanie on here. Here she is.
Hello.
Hello, there you got it. You
Hi.
have it now. How are you doing?
Doing well, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Doing pretty good. Steffi, this was said. Stephanie Geraldo. I'm saying that correctly, right?
Yes, you are.
Okay. Um, this is kind of the first time that I've ever really like accepted like an invitation to do like an interview with somebody that I really didn't know that much about. So we got kind of a lot of fun things ahead of us, to kind of get to know each other. So.
Yeah, thank you so
Uh,
much for having me. Super excited.
No, I'm really interested in your story because I read a lot of stuff in your bio and online and stuff like that kind of intrigued me a little bit. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
So, my name is Steffi Jeraldo. I am a singer-songwriter from Sweden originally. I moved to America to do music, and I went to school in Boston, got a degree in songwriting, and then when I graduated, I moved to Nashville, and loving the music scene here and how it's more focused on the craft itself. And yeah, I'm super excited for this next album. I think it represents me really well.
Um, but you had kind of an interesting upbringing. Bringing your parents aren't necessarily from Sweden. They're kind of from two separate parts of the world almost.
Yeah, no, both of my parents are immigrants. So my mother is from Romania and my father is Chilean, and I was born in Sweden. So I'm kind of a mix of cultures, and then now living in America, that's even more um, of a mix. But I love it. I love meeting people from different cultures and kind of sharing stories. And I think that's what makes music so fun.
Yeah, I was trying to follow your family tree a little bit, and it wasn't like a pine tree. It was kind of like doing this kind of number here.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
that's pretty interesting. Pretty interesting for sure. So how would you describe your music?
I think it's pretty warm and honest, and um, I think I'm a very sensitive person, and I try and um, look at different perspectives on things. Like even if it's a bad situation, I try to find the light in it, and I think that shows in my music.
Yeah, I think it's for sure. You know, um, Obviously, I looked at you before I listened to your music. That sounds weird coming out of my mouth right now, but that's normally what happens. And I would have never guessed that your voice would sound the way it does. Looking at you, it kind of caught me a little bit off guard.
Mm,
But now, now that you're talking about being sensitive and all that kind of stuff, it kind of makes sense because you do have that kind of softer, very smooth voice. It's a very pleasant voice. It's very nice.
thank you.
Um, yeah, it's very nice. I was really, not surprised about, your pitch and all that kind of stuff, but um, the overall sound of your voice and how clear it comes through, and um, it does a really good job telling your stories. That's for sure. It does
Thank
a
you.
really good job telling your stories, just in the vocals alone. So I've listened to pretty much all your songs.
Mm,
I would say that I probably listened to your Christmas song a little bit more than I want to admit on here.
mm,
Um, It's not Christmas yet, but I don't know. I got kind of caught up in something, but um, I would say probably "Wiser" and "Parachute" though are my favorite songs of yours,
Mm,
for sure. Seems like they're a favorite for a lot of people as well. Just going by your Spotify streams and all that kind of stuff.
yeah.
That's very fun. Um, but "Wiser." Can you tell me a little bit about that story? Because I kind of have a story about that story, if that makes
Mm.
sense.
Yeah, no, Wiser was actually the first song that I wrote that it kind of hit me like, I don't want to give this song up. That I wrote it with my good friend Ian, who's in the crowd in the stream. But um, yeah, we wrote it, and at the time, I didn't realize how personal it was. And then once we finished it, it kind of sunk in, and I was like, wow, this is way too personal to give up. And so it was kind of then I decided like, okay, I'm gonna try and be an artist and not just a songwriter, and try and do both. And performing it has been very liberating in a way, because the song talks a lot about emotional abuse and kind of a rocky relationship, and kind of finding freedom from that, and kind of finding that inner strength, and um, yeah, sharing that story and kind of hearing other people's stories has been um, it's been really empowering. So
Do you have Netflix?
I do, yes.
I know that's a random follow-up question to to what we just talked about, but the reason why I'm asking if you have Netflix because I don't think Wiser would have hit me the way it did if I didn't recently watch a series called Made. There's a new series on Netflix called Made, and it's about there's this younger girl. She's like 26 or something like that. But anyhow, she's kind of in this abuse. She's not kind of. She is in this kind of verbally abusive, mentally abusive relationship, and um, this story kind of goes through the ins and outs of a female, that experiences that, and it kind of opened my eyes to certain things because her abuse wasn't bruises and that kind of stuff. It was kind of just this mental thing. Involved like her boyfriend. I don't think it was even her husband, but her boyfriend would like take her cell phone away and took her car away. And, all these kind of things that kind of really made her world very small
Yeah.
and just dealing with it. She had to go to a woman's shelter, and they had a daughter, and they had to spend the night in a ferry station one night, and
Mm-hmm.
just a bunch of different things. She finally ends up. I'm not going to tell you the whole story, but it finally gets okay towards the end. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, if I didn't watch that series, because even the cool part about it is it kind of explains uh, her mental being at the time because there's like these little, you know, she sees things, just in her head. They kind of express what's in her head of what's going on, how she's feeling, like, she sees a paper and it says loser or something like that. So there's all these little things that, work to make the story work. So that's the reason why Wiser really stuck out to me is because of watching that series. Like I would have been like, yeah, emotional abuse is bad, but after watching that series, it's kind of like, okay, it's really something that can be very serious. So,
Yeah.
um,
And I think the scariest part is that it's invisible, and a lot of times, you wouldn't have thought it, because I think at the time I was probably, appearing to everyone else to be, my happy normal self, but then behind the scenes it was a lot different.
yeah, and they kind of uh, explain that in that series as well. About all the people, the police and everything were like, hey, how comes there's not, physical evidence and, all this kind of stuff. So, and actually in Washington State where this is all taking place, like, it's not really illegal because there's no physical, there's some laws there that,
Mm.
um, you know, because she's fighting custody and all this kind of stuff. So she had to kind of be dragged. Whose fault really is it?
Yeah.
Is she just upset or if it's really his fault? So
Mm,
it's kind of a weird thing, but yeah, that's a very powerful song for sure.
thank you.
And guys, I definitely uh, I definitely would check it out if I were you. I would check out all your music. It's very pleasant to listen to, and I know that sounds kind of like just kind of like this generic thing, but it really is, that way at the core, so it's really nice, it's nice to listen to. So,
Thank you. No,
um,
that means a lot.
I'm trying to, wow, we got a lot of people commenting and doing stuff today. Glad you all guys are on. If you don't know who I'm talking to just yet, I'm talking to Steffi Geraldo. Um, so yeah, she was my neighbor in
Oh,
California.
wow. That's amazing. I love Kira. Kira Hooks is incredible. Hola. That's my cousin.
Oh, you got a lot of family on here. Good deal. Good deal. Family, friends, all that good
Mhm.
stuff. I
Yeah.
know if Taylor Teasley was on here. She's another country artist. Were you living in California or just, did you just move to Nashville? You weren't living in California at all, were you?
No, I've never lived in
Okay.
California. Just Boston and Nashville and Sweden.
Uh, I thought somebody said something about you live in California. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I went to
I'm
California
trying to
for
keep up with all these messages, guys.
loved it.
I don't know about Instagram's new format because sometimes it's hard for me to read these messages. Like they're all kind of like faded,
Mm.
at least for me. Okay, California love. Okay, I think we're there now. I think I can see stuff. Okay, Cali rocks. Nashville's rock so much. Julia Flames, thanks for being on here.
Yeah, thank you.
Um, so let's do some fun questions.
All right.
What's your favorite holiday? What's your favorite holiday? We're getting into holiday season, so what's your
Well,
favorite holiday?
um, I really like Christmas, and then around Christmas, there's a really nice Swedish holiday called Lucia, which is all about like light in the dark. The girls dress in white and have candles. The Lucia has candles in her hair, and it's like they sing a cappella, and they have candles, and we have these amazing pastries, and it's just the coziest holiday. But it's around winter as well.
It's where does the holiday stem from? Do you know? Where does it come from?
It celebrates a saint. It's an Italian saint. It's like a martyr saint. But it lands on the winter solstice, so it's the darkest day of the year, and it's just a celebration of like light in the dark and music and peace and yeah, it's so cozy. Um, but yeah, I think that with Christmas, like December in general, I think is just magical. So.
Well, we do a lot of food in Southern Fellow. I'd be interested to know. Is there any kind of food or meal associated with that holiday?
Yeah, we have these they're like wheat buns, kind of like cinnamon buns, but they're with saffron in them and they're kind of shaped like an S and we call them like Lucia cats. But they're delicious. And then I think every Swedish holiday there's always meatballs. So we eat Swedish meatballs a lot. And I'm actually doing a little like gift with like if you go to my bio, I have a link. And so if you follow me or enter the email list, you get my Swedish meatball recipe that my mom and passed down to me. So that's a fun thing about Swedish food that I thought I would share.
It's not the IKEA recipe, is it?
It's similar to IKEA, but it's like IKEA is like the fast food version. Like the homemade ones are even better. They're a whole nother level.
I'm just pulling your leg.
But I mean, the
I've
IKEA
never, I've
ones
never,
are great too. It's the perfect place for a Swedish person to go when they're homesick in any other country. Because if there's an IKEA, there's meatballs. So I have traveled
yeah,
hours to go there.
yeah. I've actually never had the meatballs there. I've been to an IKEA, but I've never. tried any of the food or anything like that.
You should. They're really good. At
I
least
didn't have time. We bought some shells, and it took me like 3 days to assemble these shells with their millions of pieces. So
yeah, I
next
think
time I'll
it's
go just for the meatballs.
yeah, I think it's somehow like in our DNA or in the water. Like we know how to assemble the IKEA furniture.
Yeah, that's good. Somebody has to. Somebody has to. I don't know. Maybe I had the directions upside down or something. There was some reason why it was seemed to be extra difficult, but yeah. So um, I'm kind of interested to know about Sweden. Other than the meatballs, I mean, what else do y'all? What another thing that you brought to my attention that was interesting was you said saffron, which saffron's I associate more with Spanish style cooking.
Yeah, and I feel like we don't use it a whole lot in savory cooking. It's more in sweets. So we have it in those buns. I'm trying to think what else has saffron in it. Mainly those, and I don't know if it was because when it's a holiday, that's when you bring out like the extra special things. So I'm guessing saffron was kind of, something kind of like how truffle is today. It was
Mm.
more rare to find, so that you save it for the special occasions. Um, but yeah, Sweden has a lot of really good food. A lot of kind of like home cooked meals. Like we love potatoes and salmon, and it's pretty healthy, I feel like. Um, but
Yeah, for y'all guys that are completely clueless about saffron, it's kind of the stamen of a flower. I can't remember the name of the flower, but anyhow, it's very potent. It's a little bit goes a long way, and it's very expensive. It's very expensive, but a little bit does go a long way, and it kind of gives the food kind of a orange color with I don't know, kind of like a maybe kind of a rich citrus taste. I don't know how to describe saffron. It has a very unique yeah, I do too. Yeah, but saffron, paella, things like that. That's kind of what I associate saffron with. Not sweet. I don't think I've ever had anything with saffron in it that was sweet. So that'd be interesting. I'd have to try that one of these days.
yeah, it's so good. I love it. I've had saffron like they made like a saffron custard, and I've had saffron cake. Anything like pastry wise is really popular in the Christmas time.
Mm. Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good. I can kind of see it being sweet. I just never experienced that for myself. So, um, what would your dream vacation look like if you were to take a vacation? Where would you go?
Oh, I've always wanted to see Asia. I've never been to that side of the world, so I would love to see Korea, South Korea, and Japan and Singapore, and just kind of explore that side. And I would love to go in the fall when all the gardens are in bloom. I think that would be my ultimate vacation.
That's really other than Antarctica. That's probably the only part of the world you haven't experienced yet. So,
Um, I wish. No, I've been to a lot of places in Europe, and I've been to North America and South America to see my family. But I haven't been to Africa or Australia or Asia yet. And I would love to go see that part of the world.
yeah, I guess Africa would be. Uh, so yeah, yes, it is. Yeah, I would love to go to Asia too. Just for the food. It's funny because um, many Americans don't even know what real Asian food is. They're used to takeout. So it's nice to have those experiences outside of you know takeout Chinese and all that kind of stuff. For the food thing, the culture thing is good. It's very most Asian countries is a very rich culture,
Mm-hmm.
and um, that's something. I mean, we're all, America, 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 and that's great too. But we don't have as deep as a culture as many areas of the world. So um, we do in the Native Americans, but that kind of a lot of that got erased.
Yeah. I
um,
feel like American history is so well documented. I think, your history might not be as long as in Europe, but it's so well documented, and especially like the ancestry records and everything. Um, I think it's wonderful how you can kind of see like, oh, this is when my family came to America from Scotland or Italy or Sweden, because I think overseas it's not as well documented because I guess it's maybe just taken for granted that it's so old, but I think it's really easy to trace here in America with all the documentation.
yeah, but there's a lot of old stuff that is old because when I was in the Czech Republic, I remember Sundays. There's nothing that goes on like Sundays. Like we were walking around Prague, which is a big city. Like everything was like closed down. It was just like Sundays. Uh, but anyhow, so we were walking around, and I just happened to look down at this storm drain lid, and the date printed. I can't remember the exact date, but it was like 15 something, 15 something. And I was like, this is crazy, I'm like literally like standing on history, I can't imagine. I started thinking about how many people were, walked across this lid or
Mm-hmm.
stood around this lid, how many conversations, what people were talking about,
Yeah.
when you have that something like that, you really like. I was taken back. I was like, um, it was pretty amazing for me, So,
Mm.
um, but yeah, I mean, we get stuff around here from like the 1800s and all that stuff is good. But when you're talking like, you're going back way back, just thinking about how many people have, walked those streets and
Mm-hmm.
you know all that kind of stuff. It's just amazing, amazing. So yeah, Asia. Um, let's do a song. Let's go ahead and do a song. I'm excited.
All right, let's do it. Since we talked about Wiser, I thought that would be a good one to start with.
That would be a very good one.
Yeah, and I wrote this one with my wonderful friend Ian DePriest. And yeah, this is the first song I ever released as an artist, so it's very special to me. If I were wiser, I wouldn't pick up your call at 2 in the morning. I'd be more patient and live for myself a little more. But when you come around, you tear my armor straight to the ground, and I'm left standing here, telling myself I'll be wiser. Oh, if I were wiser, this bottle of bourbon wouldn't be in my hands. I'd be much stronger and know that this poison will make me forget you. But when you come around, you leave me with a void that I can't seem to drown. So I'm left sitting here, telling myself I'll be wiser. Oh, I'll be wiser. Oh, and I'm done wasting my time with through, 'cause I'm worth so much more than just just being with you. And if you were wiser, you wouldn't have treated me like a toy. You'd see I'm a person and not just a puppet that you can control. Oh, that when you come around, I've learned not to fall for all of your games. I'll stand my ground. 'Cause I'm wiser. I'll be wiser. Oh, I'll be wiser. Oh.
That's good. That's really good.
Thank
Love
you.
the acoustic of it. You were talking about going real personal with that song.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think I've ever asked this question to any other artist. Um, has there ever been a song that either didn't develop or, you kind of rethought because you said, you got to the point to where like, this is a little bit too, you know, too much, you know, too emotional for me at the moment.
Yeah, I think, it's kind of like songwriting is so therapeutic and it also kind of brings up a lot of emotions that you sometimes don't even know that you've suppressed. So I definitely have those songs. Like I have a song about grief because my grandmother's not doing too well and I didn't know how to process it. So naturally I turned to music and it's one of those songs that I think at least for a bit I'll probably keep to myself until I'm ready to sing it in front of other people.
Hmm.
But I do think that in sharing those songs and having those conversations, I think it opens it up and it kind of gives other people a chance to find healing in them and comfort you at the same time. So I think it's a beautiful thing to be that vulnerable. But
Yeah, I never was much of a writer until I started Southern Fellow.
mm,
So I had a lot of catching up to do. But yeah, it does. There's something about putting pen to paper or, fingers to keyboard in my case, because God knows I can barely read my handwriting, so nobody else will. But yeah, there's something that just it takes you kind of to the next level and pulls stuff that you didn't even know you had in you out for sure. So
yeah.
um, yeah, no, it's a good thing. It's a good experience. Um, are you somebody that believes in luck, or do you believe like life just happens?
I think it's a bit of both. I think there's definitely luck involved, but I think it's also it is what you make it. So if you put in the work and if you, um, keep at it, I think, your hard work is going to pay off. But I do think luck is also definitely a part of it all as well.
Would you consider yourself a lucky person?
I think so. I think I'm so fortunate. I have amazing people in my life. Um, yeah, I think, me being here in America, I think, it was definitely a mix of luck and hard work. But I think everything is just, yeah, I consider myself so fortunate for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you seem happy, and you're doing good. You got great music out there, and
Thank
reaching out to people like me, and working hard and doing all that kind of fun stuff. Because it is hard work. I mean,
you. Hmm.
I hate because I can't get to everybody. There's no way for me to do it. I have to tell people no. So
Hmm.
I know by doing that you've heard no one or two times during your career. So
Oh, yes, many times. But I mean, it's what makes you work harder, and come at it one more time, and eventually you get yeses. So,
yeah, for me it's always been tough to tell people no. or that it's not the right time, or I've had artists that uh, Maggie Boff for you know you know all purposes. For an example, I don't know if you know her or not, but she has some good songs out, and she's a fairly big um, you know she's a decent sized artist. She's not Garth Brooks, but she's doing good, Maggie Boff. But anyhow, she actually reached out to me when I first started Southern Fellow, and at the time, it had been easy for me just to say, I'm excited, let's do this, I need your people to come to my website, so I have more people. But I kind of had to tell her that I wasn't ready for her. Um, I didn't think I had the skills or the mindset to tell her story, so I had to tell her no, so sometimes, you have to tell people no, even though you want to say yes, it's
Mhm.
just one of those things. I mean, just like in relationships, there might be a guy that, is really nice, does all the right things, but he's just not the guy for you. And I know, plenty of females that have been in that situation and guys that have been in that situation. And, they had said, this isn't for me. You're nice, but, you're not mine.
Right.
So, you know, so
Mhm.
yeah, no, it's hard to say. But, you know, you got to keep pushing. A lot of people tell you no, but you got to keep pushing. I mean, that's what makes people successful in anything.
Mhm.
Because if you just take no for an answer, then you're already dead on arrival. So,
Right.
um, what do you think is the most annoying habit that other people have?
Oh, let me think. Um, I mean, I think people that don't take other people into consideration, like people that are just kind of in their own bubble and not thinking about how their actions affect other people. That is definitely kind of a pet peeve of mine. Um, because yeah, I think I was raised to be very like considerate. My mom is very strict on like like, oh, like think about. I always lived in an apartment growing up, and it was like, we have neighbors. You can't be loud. You got to take consideration to the people around you. And so, sometimes people don't have the same view of what common sense is, I guess. But yeah, I think maybe that's the first thing that came to mind, at least.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I think people are getting more and more away from that. I'm not going to get into the whole mask debate. I'm not going to say wear a mask because it's good for somebody else. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to get that debate. I'm going to put that aside. But just in life in general, ever since COVID hit, like I don't like going to the grocery store or Walmart or any of those type of places anymore because it just seems like everybody's in a bad mood and
Mm,
you know, like I mean, people like go out of the way to try not to acknowledge you.
mm,
I see that a lot these days. People just go out of their way to not, you know, do anything that proves that you exist in any way, shape, or
yeah.
form.
No,
And I don't know if you've experienced that, but I have experienced that a lot lately, just in general public. Like
mm,
it's been real weird.
yeah.
Um,
And I think it kind of sometimes it's like, you know, yesterday actually, I work in a kind of a customer service kind of job, and someone got really mad at me for a reason that was just kind of like I can't do anything about it. And I just kept being like really nice to this gentleman. And then eventually he actually became nice to me as well. But he got really mad. He kind of blew up a little bit. And I just kept, being like, okay, I'm gonna keep telling you what I have to tell you. And then towards the end of the conversation, he, kind of calmed down and was nice. And so I think sometimes you just kind of like got to kill him with kindness and just yeah, be nice regardless.
yeah, no, and it's
Yeah.
it's a hard um, it's a hard battle to fight for sure. When being nice, it's not easy. It's a lot easier to be miserable and angry than it is to be nice. It's just one of those things. It seems to take little bit more work
Mm.
than I guess people are willing to commit these days. But yeah, yeah. So, um, what personal style did you love, like kind of like back in the day, but now you look back on it and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe I even wore something like that.
Ooh, um, I was pretty angsty as a tween. Not like full on emo, but like a little like in between. Like I remember I used to love this sweater that was like half red, half black stripes, and I thought that was the coolest shirt. And now I'm like, what was I thinking? That does not look flattering on me personally. It might look wonderful on someone else, but yeah. So I would do that and like the eyeliner and um yeah, very angsty, and the cut off gloves, things like that. But yeah, I was very into like Paramore, for example. So I like I think tried to look a little more like Haley Williams, and naturally, I don't know, it wasn't a good fit.
Yeah, yeah. I have that same thing, like with tattoos. I'm not against tattoos. People can do whatever they want to, but as far as me, there's been a few times in my life where I really thought hard about it, and I'm like, man, I'm gonna get this on my body, and then like 10 years from now, I'm gonna be like, what was I thinking? Yeah, this is so stupid. But I kind of, I guess I'm not brave in, that department. But it's just one of those things. I always, because it's permanent. It's not a sweater. It's not like okay, this sweater, doesn't work anymore. I'm going to change it. You can't do that with tattoos.
Right.
Um, but yeah, it's one of those weird things. But what place do you normally go when you have time off?
Oh, I love to go to the Greenway. So there's like trails around Nashville, and I love going there, going on long walks and talking to loved ones, and just being out in nature. Um, and then if I have like more time off, then I love going up to the mountains or going somewhere where I can go for like a proper hike.
You like doing the hiking and walking around and camping and all that stuff too?
Not camping, no.
Yeah.
My husband's family is very outdoorsy, and I'm not quite there. I love a good cabin. I love being able to walk and have a good day outside, but then come indoors to a nice warm, you know, cabin with a fireplace or a bathroom.
Sleeping under the stars is not on your bucket list right now.
No, I'm such a cold sleeper that I did go camping when I was younger and ended up sleeping in like a bunch of layers and a hat and everything that as bundled up as I could be, and I was still freezing and it was wet, and my friend got a slug in her boot, and it was just not very pleasant. So,
Okay, so you want the outside to stay outside. You don't mind visiting it, but you don't want to live with it.
no, yeah, I think that's a good good description. I love being out in it as long as I can sleep in a bed afterwards. I'm all for it. Yeah, I think camping is another level. I haven't really discovered a liking for that part, but maybe someday.
Yeah. So you are married. How long have you been married for?
Almost 4 years. In November, it'll be 4 years.
4 years. That's a while.
Hmm.
Um, Happy anniversary, if I forget.
Thank you, thank you.
Uh, but so yeah, 4 years is a little time. What advice do you have for? I got a lot of friends fixing to get married. What advice do you have for a couple that's thinking about tying a knot?
I think more important than anything is like being best friends and having a really strong like friendship. Um, I think, you know, it's you're spending a lifetime hopefully, you know, with a person. So, you know, being able to have like a good laugh and being able to talk about everything, like I think that's so important. I mean, the intimacy and romantic part is great, but I think if you have like a really good friendship, I think that is the most important thing in my book.
What do you think's the hardest part about being married?
The hardest part, um, I think communication can be hard. Everyone, you know, communicates differently, and like being able to open up when you're kind of wanting to shut down and like letting the other person in. I know can be a little difficult, but I think it's so worth it, you know, to be open and honest and communicate through even when you're frustrated or sad or, you know, any kind of emotions that come through. It's always good to process it with someone else.
Yeah, it's complicated. Any relationship's complicated. But you know, being married, you kind of communicate and work through it for sure.
Mm-hmm.
That's the biggest thing. You got a new single that's fixing to drop pretty soon, the 8th, correct?
Yes, this
Cart
Friday.
Cartwheels.
Yes, Cartwheels. I'm so excited.
Man, this week is this thing going by too fast.
It's
Um,
flying by.
so tell us a little bit about Cartwheels.
So Cartwheels is I would say it's maybe a little stubborn of a song. I know me as a person, I am not one to give up. And sometimes that is not necessarily serving me well. Cartwheels is about fighting for a relationship that isn't isn't happening. It's not serving you anymore. It's not meant to be, and you're kind of still just trying and, you know, bending over backwards trying to make it work when maybe the best thing is to let it go.
Yeah, I see a lot of relationships like that.
Yeah, and I think
You
because
know,
it
I
can be
see.
hard when you invest so much time into a relationship, but sometimes you grow apart, and that's normal. But yeah, Cartwheels is definitely in that stubborn zone of like, maybe if I just try this one more thing, maybe, you know, it'll fix it.
Yeah, I like the take on kind of that scenario that you did with that because um, just doing this for a while and we feature a lot of female artists and just some of the songs where the girl, you know, where the storyline has the girl kind of hanging on for way longer than she should have,
Mm.
you know. It it kind of annoys me. I mean, I'm gonna be straight up. It kind of like, you know, it annoys me because it's like, you know, this person's not good for you, you know. So why, you know, um, for me, it's like picking a fruit. You know, it's good for a while, and everything's starting to go sour, and you're like, well, I still have the fruit, so I'm gonna, keep partaking of it because, I have it, even though it's not good for me. It doesn't taste good. It doesn't bring me joy. It doesn't do any of the things it used to do.
Mm.
You know, so but I kind of like your take on it compared to some other ones, but I don't know your emotions around that kind of stuff, but
No,
uh,
I mean, I definitely agree, you know, but I think when you're in the thick of it, it's so hard to see that. I think, you know, love definitely can be so blinding. Um, so, yeah, I think this song is definitely written out of the perspective of that kind of blinder and not realizing that it's bad for you. Um, but yeah, I think when you realize that, more power to you, you know. I think it's so important to do what's best for you and, you know, have healthy relationships that, you know, are fueling and rewarding and equal. But yeah, but if anything, you know, songwriting is a great tool to make you realize that. So,
true, true. Let's go ahead and do another song. I don't know if you want to do that one or not. I didn't want to ask, but
Yeah, no, I'll do that one. It'll be a good little sneak peek for Friday. So I'm super excited. Oh, let me just like people on it. But yeah, I wrote the song with Sean Trainer, who's also my producer. And we wrote this years ago. So it's so exciting that it's finally coming out. But yeah, this is Cartwheels. You look like you're ready to run to the arms of someone new. But you're still holding your tongue. You wait for the right time to speak to me. But I don't want you to leave. So I'm doing cartwheels, spinning around upside down, all around in my head. Cartwheels, bend my back, blue and black, losing track of what's real. I already know how you feel, but those are the words I can't hear. So I'm doing cartwheels, cartwheels. Back when we had nothing to lose, we packed up and left what felt safe. When things hit the fan, you gave up and ran away from me. Oh, you caved so easily. Now I'm doing cartwheels, spinning around upside down, all around in my head. Cartwheels, bend my back, blue and black, losing track of what's real. I already know how you feel, but those are the words I can't hear. So I'm doing cartwheels, cartwheels. They say all is fair in love and war, but you never fought for us at all. Have you really thought this through? Until you do, I'll be doing cartwheels, 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 spinning around upside down, all around my head. Cartwheels, bend my back, blue and black, losing track of what's real. I already know how you feel, but those are the words I can't hear. Yeah, I already know how you feel, but I can't walk away from what's real. So I'm doing cartwheels, 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 cartwheels.
I love it. I love it.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Oh my goodness, all these comments are like warming my heart. Y'all are so sweet.
Yeah, definitely. You guys need to add it to your playlist wherever you stream your music, Spotify, um,
Thank you
Apple
very
Music, all those places.
much. Yes, that definitely helps out so much.
Yes, it does for sure. For sure. Um, what's something that you see a bunch of other people obsessed with, and you just don't get it? It just doesn't, you know, doesn't excite you one bit.
Mm, I'm trying to think. What's something that people are really obsessed with? Oh, I think for a bit it was maybe TikTok. I couldn't get it. I felt really old, but now I'm trying to step out of my comfort zone and promote the song and myself as an artist. And I am finding a lot of really funny videos on there that do make me laugh a lot. Um, I don't get the ones where it's like you're you're without makeup and then you like hit the camera and then all of a sudden you're like all dolled up. And I'm just like, we're human beings. You don't have to, I don't know. Like they make a really big deal out of like looks and I don't know, like transformations, but I'm just like I think internal transformations are so much more important. Um so maybe that.
No, yeah, that's kind of a good point with TikTok and even Instagram too. You know, all these social media platforms are, you know, visual. You know, I've done posts where people responded to the photo, but it wasn't necessarily relating to what I wrote. You know, at the bottom, you know, they kind of made up their own story to, you know, just what the way the photo looked and all that. So yeah, no, I can definitely understand that for sure. Um, yeah, it's just a crazy time we live in. It's great, you know. I'm thankful for especially Instagram, Facebook. I struggle with, but you know, I've met so many people on Instagram. I've met you on Instagram. I've met a lot of people. We're doing this on Instagram, so
Mm,
you know, social media has its place. You know, it has a lot of good to it, but you know, there is a little bit of a dark side to that as well. You know, to having you know all this visual stuff in front of us, you know, because we're everybody's trying to get everybody's attention, you
mm-hmm.
know, all the time. So people are just getting crazy with it. Just like the TikTok videos. Sometimes I watch these TikTok videos and you know, I am a content creator, and I'm like, man, I can't imagine how much time these people spend making these, you know, little 50-second videos of them just doing, you know, throwing glitter up in the air, you know, or learning this dance or something like that, you know, just like
Yeah.
and everybody's doing the same dance, you know. Everybody's excited about it, but everybody's doing the same dance. So it's kind of it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of good and there's a lot of maybe not so good, but I mean, I think the majority of it is, you know, it's such a wonderful place where you can connect with people and get to know people that you normally wouldn't have. And especially for me, you know, social media is how I keep up with my family and friends back in Sweden or my family in Chile or Romania. So I'm super grateful that I get to peek into, you know, people's everyday lives still, even though I'm so far away.
What what would you name this specific chapter in your life? What title would you give this chapter in your life?
Ooh. Um, maybe stretching, because I think I'm being stretched and challenged in a lot of ways musically and creatively and as an artist, but it's like it's a healthy stretch if that makes sense. It's you know, it might
Not being overextended.
not overextended. It's like, you know, gradually becoming more flexible and stronger. Um, but I've definitely this year coming from 2020 when everything kind of got put on hold to this year where you know I'm making my album and I'm getting more into writing music for film and TV and just adulting more. um, it's been a year of stretching and yeah, in good ways mostly.
That's good. That's good. Um, what's something that you thought you would grow out of, but never did?
mm, I'm trying to think. I mean, Disney movies is the first thing that comes to mind. I watched Cruella earlier today, and I feel like a little kid every time I watch a good Disney movie. It just takes me right back, and I'm just filled with this childlike wonder all over again. I love it.
Oh no, I can relate with, Marvel comics, X-Men and stuff like that, and
Hmm.
Transformers and all that stuff I grew up with. Yeah, no, it feels good. When Transformers first came out, I was like, wow, this looks so real. This is like the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, so so yeah, it's come a long way since the cartoon. So,
Hmm.
but no, I can definitely relate to that. I'm just checking the time real quick. Oh wow, we got to cruise through today. I mean, that's good. That means we had a good conversation. I wasn't checking the time. So normally I take the last few minutes to kind of turn the tables where you get to ask me a couple questions. You get to put me in the hot seat.
Ooh, this is fun. What's a song that you've been playing on repeat recently?
Um, it's a lot of songs. I'm gonna kind of sidestep that, not because I don't want to like. I'm gonna answer the question, but it's not gonna be like a direct answer, and it's not because like I'm scared I'm gonna like hurt somebody's feelings or anything like that. But um, I think it just relates to what you're talking about. When I do song reviews, um, that song that I'm writing about, I just put it on repeat,
Oh.
like literally for like a couple hours or an hour, whatever, how long it takes me to write that review.
Hmm.
The song is on repeat.
Oh.
Um,
Right.
so a lot of songs that I review, it's kind of like um, you know, I take it in, I take everything in, and then I put it out, and then I won't touch it for a long time, because I've already heard it,
Hmm.
you know, over and over again for a while. So yeah, that's kind of my writing process when I do song reviews. So I do listen to quite a few songs
Mm,
over and over and over again.
very nice. Let's see. What's your favorite fall recipe?
Favorite fall recipe.
Fall is here, and I'm very excited.
Um, I really like, you can find the recipe on our website, southernfella.com. I like the stews and especially gumbo. I'm
Mm.
really a big fan of gumbo, and so I have a recipe. It makes for a lot of people, so bring your family, friends, neighbors, mailmen, you know, all the people over because it's kind of it makes a lot, but it's really good. It's one of my most asked for recipes when I'm stopping by or visiting something,
Mm.
visiting somebody and all that good stuff. So
Yeah.
what else you got? You've been throwing me softballs. What else you got?
Mm. I'm trying to think. Um, man. I'm trying to think. What's your favorite Netflix show at the moment?
Favorite Netflix show? I don't know. There's been a lot. I mean, let me tell you that Maid one really
Mm.
did like a shock and awe on me. It just really opened my eyes to um you know uh, abuse and what all goes on and um kind of how society treats it, which is
Mm.
there's no perfect solution to everything, but I mean we got to come up with some better ways to um you know evaluate the situation.
Hmm.
It's not a one size fits all situation, and we always kind of try to put everything into one size fits all. So that really opened up my eyes. But I like there's a series called Atypical about autistic
Yeah.
kid.
Hmm.
I like watching that show, and I'm all about the feel good shows. 20 years in prison and people in prison, and who murdered who, and all that kind of stuff. That stuff really does not excite me. I think I don't know. I just find it weird. I think people are just like looking for the negative right now, and I don't know if they're doing it because they want to feel better about themselves. Like they see this person like in prison or, whatever, dead, all these crazy shows that we watch today.
Mm.
Uh, People watch today. I don't watch them, but people watch today. I don't, I think subconsciously, like people might want to, well, that guy has it worse off than me. So, hey, I'm
Hmm.
doing, okay, I don't have any money in the bank, but, I'm still better off than that guy. So I think people look at those shows kind of like that. You know, it doesn't get me. I just like the feel good shows, and I like seeing people, you know, uh, overcome hard life and, all that kind of stuff. Do good.
Mm. Yeah. No, I like feel good.
Grace and Frankie is funny too.
Mm.
It's kind of, I can't believe I'm admitting to watching that, but that show is kind of funny.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about that show. I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard a lot of really good things.
Yeah, yeah. All right, well, that's gonna be it for us. We're done. We're done. You survived. You survived.
Yep.
You're only like the one of the 5 people to do that. No. We're not that hard on people. At least I don't try to. But everybody, this is Steffi Jeraldo. Please make sure to follow her here on Instagram if you're not already. All the social medias, and please make sure to just go ahead and add all of her songs to all of your playlists. I think that's the most logical thing to do, in my opinion. So just go ahead and do that. But you can find her everywhere: Spotify, right? Apple Music,
Hmm.
Pandora, all those
YouTube,
kind of
Amazon, you name
YouTube.
it.
Yeah, she's got a couple, YouTube videos out there, some official music videos, and all that fun stuff. So watch those. And just keep following it. This girl's going places. So
Yeah.
I'm just excited. I jumped into this, kind of prematurely than premature than my other interviews, but it's been a great experience. So hopefully you've had a great experience
Yeah,
here. And
this was so fun. Thank you so much for having me. This was so much fun to get to know you um and to share this, hour with all y'all that tuned in. I'm really grateful. And don't forget to pre-save my song that comes out on Friday, and the music video will be out in November. So there's a lot of fun things coming.
oh wow, you already got a music video done for it, huh?
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. You're ahead of the game. So
Yeah, you'll get a
so
little.
make sure to do all that. Just make sure to follow her and bug her every day about when she's got new music coming out. If you can't, if you're like me and pretty hard in the head and can't remember things. So, uh, but anyhow, so thank you again,
Thank
Steffi. I really
you.
do appreciate having you. We're probably gonna do some more stuff together. Hopefully we'll get you on the website one of these days. We can do more of these. We can, you
Yeah,
know, do whatever. I don't know. We can,
would love to.
you know, do all sorts of things. So, guys, thank y'all very much for tuning in. We got a
Thank you
bunch
so
of
much.
interviews coming up, and Maggie Ball's coming to feed the band. We got Leah Turner coming to feed the band. So we're gonna have some recipes coming up, and we're getting to holiday season. So we're gonna do some holiday recipes and holiday planning guide type of situation. So it's gonna be fun. So thank y'all much, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye bye.